Welcome to episode 21, live from my drum room with Gregg Bissonette, part 2. Good to see some folks watching. I don't know. It was weird. It wasn't showing that it was connecting on my end. So if you saw this already and then you saw me cut it off, hey, these things happen in the world of show business. But you got to be a professional and you got to know how to roll with it. So something like that anyway. All right. So, this is great. I had Gregg with me 3 weeks ago today or tomorrow, January the 31st. And we had such a great time. And an hour and a half went by like that we said we have to do this again soon, do a part 2, because we had so many other things we wanted to talk about, stories, and just hanging and chatting. So I'm glad Gregg had some time to do this today, and I appreciate you guys tuning in, as always. Makes it all worthwhile. Hey, Jay. Hey, Rich. Good to see you guys. Looks like we get quite a few folks watching. This is great. Gregg's hanging out in the green room. Got some good snacks in there for him to, munch on while he waits. Let's see, what else? Got some snow here. All you guys watching from Massachusetts, Boston area. We got, you two should have a cable show. Yeah, we should. We got about 4 or 5 inches of snow here yesterday, which was a complete surprise to me because they said we were going to get that much snow, but I never believed them anymore. So when we did, I was like, wow, how do you like that? Anyway. Hey, Harry McCarthy, I'm so glad you're watching. Look at what I'm wearing today. For all you folks watching, Harry McCarthy, who's calling me handsome, but really he's the most handsome guy I know, gave me this jacket in 2009. Harry was Max Weinberg's drum tech for, I don't know, Harry, 15 years? I don't know how long, a long time. Owner of Drum Paradise, the original Drum Paradise in Los Angeles, now Drum Paradise in Nashville. But anyway, this was a gift from Harry McCarthy. It probably cost him a couple of days per diem because the swag wasn't cheap and it wasn't free on that tour. They did crazy merch business. I know that. So anyway, Harry, thanks. This is perfect for a cold February day. We keep the heat a little low around here. All right. So I'm going to get Gregg because you guys, at a point you're going to be sick of listening to just me. So I'm going to bring out the ringer. Let me just make sure he's all set. And it's going to be fun. And thanks again, everybody, for watching today. This is, he's ready. Okay. So without further ado, everybody, please give a big hand for Gregg Bissonette. And here he comes. And here he is. There he is.
Johnny D.
Gregg Bissonette, part 2.
Part 2, man.
Part 2. We said we were going to do it.
We did. Hey, can you hear my drums okay?
They sound great. They sound...
Pillowcases on there.
That's one of your Dixon kits, right?
Yes.
Obviously.
This is my turquoise sparkle artisan kit from Dixon. And I got all my Sabian cymbals and my LP cowbell and percussion, my DW double pedal, Remo heads, and I would be wearing my special direct sound headphones, but I don't need them because I hear you live in living color. And look at you behind you. You got your Ludwig Kit and your Gretsch kit, man.
That's actually my Rogers right there.
Ringo finish?
Yeah, Rogers in the black diamond pearl.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I got a Ludwig in the other room. I'll show you that after this. Yeah, it's a.
Doesn't Dixon have Rogers now?
They do.
Yes,
yeah. I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
My middle school band director, when I was in 7th grade, he still is a great drummer, Jerry Haspatcher, and he would toss me the keys to his 1972 gold Gran Torino. I had a red Gran Torino, like a Starsky and Hutch car in high school, but he inspired me to get a Gran Torino. And it was so cold, like it probably is in Boston right now, that I'd put the key in the trunk and the ice would break, and I'd bring in his Rogers kit. It was that black and red kind of checked finish, that finish?
Oh yeah, onyx. I think they called that onyx. Yeah. That's beautiful. Those are really, if you can find one of those now, they're so rare and they're so valuable. those old Rogers.
I'll tell
Well,
Gary.
a quick Dixon story, I'll tell you. So I know that I got in touch with our friend Jim Uding, our good friend,
We're great friends.
and I knew that he's handling the Dixon side of it, but he put me in touch with Ken Fredenberg and Jim Stanek at
Yeah,
Rogers.
Great friends too. They're awesome.
Awesome guys. They sent me, and I said, I'll pay for these. But when I bought this vintage Rogers set, it didn't have the internal tone controls, the mufflers. And I don't even use them, but I wanted to have it look sort of authentic and fill the holes. So they sent me them for my two toms and snare drum.
Yeah.
And it looked like it's like a 1966 kit in perfectly new condition.
Beautiful, baby. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Who's that? What voice is that? Beautiful. Beautiful.
I know that voice. That's Armand Zildjian, our buddy.
Now, didn't you tell me that he recently would have had a birthday and would have turned 100?
Yeah. He got a great memory. Yeah. On the 18th, 2 days ago, he would have, rest his soul. It was 100 years since his birth. And
what a great man. I'll never forget the first time I talked to him. I had just gotten the gig with Maynard Ferguson, and my brother was on the road playing bass. And he said, buddy, our drummer's leaving. You got the gig. And Maynard called me on my landline. He used to call me on my landline, not my cell phone. This is 82. And so he says, Greg, it's Maynard. Welcome to the band. I've got somebody here that wants to say hi to you. And he gives the phone to Armand. He was hanging.
Oh, yeah.
Baby, welcome to Maynard's band. When you get by the factory, come pick out some pies. Welcome to the team. I was like, wow. I'm talking to both those guys. It was 1982.
Oh, man. I know. Yeah. And you're right. There was a standing rule. Yeah. Kevin Goodman, who's watching right now, he worked at Zildjian for a while, and he knew Armand also, but there was a standing rule. Every drummer that played in Maynard's band got an endorsement, and because he felt that if you're good enough to be in Maynard's band, you cut the mustard basically. And
Lenny D, man, the dynamic duo. I was talking to my great pal I'm with Sabian, my great pal Chris Stenke, and he has so many great, as you do, and great Lenny D stories. The dynamic duo, man, Lenny and Armand.
Oh man!
Tell us a good Lenny and Armand story, will you?
Oh well, there's so many. I think about the first PASIC I ever worked. When I was working at Zildjian, first PASIC I ever went to in 1989, and it was in Nashville. And the banquet that they have on the Friday night or the Saturday night, the big rubber chicken in those days.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting at the table with Lenny and Armand, Colin Schofield and Mike Morris and all our old friends.
All our good friends.
And Sandy Feldstein was up giving a speech, and you've been to enough of these PAS banquets, they're kind of stuffy. It's a lot of speeches. And Sandy's giving this speech, and I'd only just met Sandy that year, and he's up there, and it's a very serious moment. And they just started pelting him with bread rolls, they took the bread rolls out of the basket.
You just jogged my memory because my dad, Bud, was really close with Armand and Lenny. And my dad came to one of those banquets with me, I think in St. Louis. And while somebody was speaking, and it was that tuxedo kind of banquet, Armand, and on the side of the table, Armand says, Bud, to my dad, Bud, watch this. And he takes, like he's going to hit the fork and go, and my dad just on the floor laughing. And there's a lot of alcohol involved with those guys. And,
yes.
And we'll have a Nick nose. We'll have this,
Yeah.
He lifted up his pant leg, and oh my God. Come on. Do we have some times? And with our pal Steve Houghton, how you and Steve Houghton and Lenny would organize those things like the one we did in Vegas with Louie Bellson. What a day that was.
The showcase, yeah.
Yeah, the showcase. Steve was one of my best friends, one of the greatest teachers I've ever had, one of my favorite drummers. There's Steve playing, and then there's John Beck. What a great guy and great player he is.
Yeah.
Louie Bellson, my hero. And he's up there, and my dad's with me. He goes, you think we could, the sound check was over. You think we could sit behind Louie's kid? I said, yeah, Louie's our great friend. He wouldn't mind. First guy up there is John Beck, and he's tapping around. Then I'm up there tapping around, and then my dad's tapping around. Louie came to my father's funeral, man. That's the kind of guy that he was.
I know.
At my dad's funeral. And then I was a pallbearer at his funeral.
I remember, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Louie was, we've talked about this, Greg. You are like the as far as I'm concerned, like Louie handed you the baton and being like the, motivational, inspirational, great guy that's like just so great to like young drummers coming up. And, I think of Louie, like I saw so many clinics that he did where he would take as much time as any young kid wanted to ask a question, to, not just signing autographs, but like giving him great advice. And you're the same way. We've done a lot of those clinic tours where like you're always, it's like you want to spend that extra time with a younger drummer, because that's where you're going to make more of an impression usually, and
I'll tell you not a funny story, a true story about Louie. Do you know the name Ronnie Berg?
Ronnie Berg.
Great drummer from Poughkeepsie, New York. I think it's Poughkeepsie. And Ronnie had terminal cancer. And I was contacted by the Make-A-Wish company that instead of coming to Disneyland or going to, Disney World or doing anything, he wanted to come out to LA. He was a big fan of the David Lee Roth band and Maynard. And he was only, I think, about 14 or 15 at the time. But I said, of course, I would love to have him come out. And his mom and dad came out with him. And we spent a couple days at my house jamming and hanging out. And I took him around LA. But one of the things I thought about doing, and it happened, was I called Louie and I told him the story about Ronnie Berg. And Ronnie passed several years ago. But anyway, he was a great drummer and a great guy. Never complained about anything, Ronnie Berg. And his dad, Ron Berg Sr., just an amazing man. And anyway, so I said, Louie, would you be up for coming over? We could play some drums with Ronnie. And so I had 2 kits set up in my drum room. And Ronnie wore all of us out. He sat in there from about noon till about 7 at night when we had dinner. But Louie Bellson jammed with him, Myron Grombacher, Simon Phillips,
wow,
Tristan Bowden, Hillary Jones. I had all my friends over, and we couldn't wear them out. But Louie was just there hanging, and he wanted to be a part of Ronnie Berg's life. What a gentleman, what a great guy.
Unbelievable guy. I know. I'll just say he was so good. I brought my son. There was a clinic that he did at a local music store, drum shop. I think you remember a guy named Dick DeCenzo, Dave DeCenzo. Yeah, and his son Dave is a very well-known drummer.
Berkeley and everything, yeah.
Yeah. So Dick had a shop this would have been almost 30 years ago. On a cold, like December or January night, he did a clinic
in Boston.
In Boston, Louie did. What's that? Cold in January. Who'd have thunk it?
I don't want to tell you, but it's 80 degrees and sunny in LA right now.
Oh man, don't tell me that.
Dick DeCenzo.
Oh, so Dick he hosted Louie for a clinic, and I brought both my kids, Johnny and Danielle, and Johnny that afternoon had drawn. This was, I think, before he came and stole your thunder at the clinic in Boston at the Sheridan, but he drew a picture. He was like into drawing like dogs and wolves and coyotes, and he drew this picture and he said, I want to give this to Louie Bellson tonight. So we go to the clinic and he raises his hand during the question and answer. He's sitting next to me and I was surprised. I'd introduced him before the clinic, and Louie says, oh, that's John DeChristopher's boy. Come on up here. And he hands him this picture. Anyway, fast forward, like, I don't know, it could have been 5 years later. I'm talking on the phone with Louie one time, and he would always ask, oh, Johnny just said it was a Jurassic Park drawing. Of course it was. So, yeah. And he would always ask how my kids were, how's your son? And he was, I forget where he was at the time when he called me, but he said, I have that picture your son drew for me. I take it everywhere I go. It's in my suitcase. I wanted to cry.
That's Louie. I remember one time I was doing a clinic tour, and I had a layover and a change of planes in Chicago in the middle of the night. It was like 4 a.m, actually, super early. And I remember just being super tired and barely had my eyes open. And I turned the corner by one of those little newsstand gift shops, and bam, there's Louie and Francine Bellson. And they were both so awake, so fun, and so loving, and the hugs, and how's Dad? Just on, you know. And I remember once, I think I might have told this to you before, but I remember one time with Skin Deep, the first record with double bass, Louie Bellson with Duke Ellington. And I remember hearing that Duke said, yeah, Louie, man, what a great drummer. One of the nicest guys, one of the best drummers I ever had. And Louie's response was, yeah, Duke was drinking a lot in those days. He's just so humble. He always
so humble. I know, man. You know,
well, my parents came out to the first Buddy Rich Memorial, and it was at on Long Island.
Westbury, yeah.
Westbury Music Fair in the Round.
Yeah.
And so I'm in a little practice room at Long Island Drum Center, and it's just Louie and I, and my dad's videoing. And Louie would always call my dad Pop. He said, Pop, yeah, you video this. This will be great. I want a copy of like a VHS with a big VHS thing. And Louie said, we should play a song. We should come up with some kind of a melody that we could play together. And I said, what about Oleo? And Oleo's a great standard. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Says, now we'll go into time. That's a great one. Good idea. Oleo. Now we'll go into time. You had the 4 on the floor going on the ride. We do 8 bars for the middle 8 there of time on the ride, and then we'll go back to the head. One. And then I'll time while you play 4 or 8, and we'll trade off. And he had the best word. And I used to use this word with Mark Cranny all the time. Mark Cranny, our dear pal, here was his drum head. Mark Cranny right there. I used to use this term a lot with Mark because whenever Louie said, okay, now we're going to a different feel, a different tempo, he would say, we need like a transition thing, like a floor tom or like a, and he would have another word. It wasn't transition. It was a word to get from one place to the other, like a break. Now a little break, a little intermission, interlude. So that was our interlude, and then we go into a different feel. And when we'd raise the eyebrow and we'd want to go to yet a different feel, a Latin thing or something, interlude. Oh. And then we go to a different tempo.
Yeah.
It was a way to have like a big comma and just say, blah, 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 blah. Bam, here's the new section. And
yeah.
Musical. So
musical. Yeah. You know, Luis Conte is watching right now, and he said Louie was the greatest cat.
Oh, Louis Songo. How you doing, Luis? Luis and I live exactly a mile away from each other. If you could cut through that mountain right there as the crow flies and just go right up and over. He's right there in Thousand Oaks, a mile away. Hi, Luis.
Yeah. He says we're burning, and Rob Wallace is watching, and he said the same thing. Gregg is the modern day Louie.
Oh my gosh! Rob was there. Thank you, Rob. Rob was there at Westbury. Rob and Paul, and we never did get it together to film that one. But boy, did Rob and Paul film the next one. The next one happened a year later.
Yeah.
And I think there was a little bit of politics involved with Zildjian, I got to say, because, you know, on that first one, there were Peisty guys, Sabian guys. There was Dom Famularo was Sabian. Jim Chapin, Joe Morello was Peisty, right? And so I think it was kind of like, well, what if we did another one of these out in L.A. and we got, you know, Dennis Chambers, right?
Right.
It was Vinny, Weckel, Gad, Dennis, Louie, and I. We were all Zildjian guys. So that's just business, you know. It wouldn't be in Zildjian's best interest to have, you know, guys playing UFIP cymbals on there. You know what I mean? So business is business, right, Johnny?
That's right. Business is business. And, you know, you mentioned that Dennis, I had Dennis on last week, and we talked a lot of, and we were talking a lot about that, the one in LA, that, you know, that Dennis was on, and that the three of you guys. And I remember I was talking about how that afternoon when you guys did like the rehearsal, do you remember that? It was like, he said all six of you guys, but I thought it was the two groups. But I remember you, Louie, and Dennis playing for like 2 or 3 hours, to the point where, like, I mean, in the afternoon, where I was thinking you guys weren't going to have anything left at night because you were like dripping with sweat.
We had like so much fun.
Unbelievable.
The three of us rehearsing, and then Steve and Dave and Vinny rehearsing. But where Dennis might be remembering is all 6 of us were on a panel. We were sitting on chairs. I have a photograph of it. I'll send it to you. You can post it. And we all have our notes. And there's different people up there playing to get the scholarship. It was a memorial.
That's right.
And we're all taking notes. And I remember Dave Weckel leaned over to me because we were watching videos of different and that they had sent in. And it was the finalists. And Dave Weckel leans over to me and goes, wow. And this is what,
1989.
Something, right?
89.
89. Well, I know the first one was 89 in Westbury.
This was actually, so the Westbury was like March of 89, I think. February. Same year, October of 89. Yeah, it was.
So it's 89. And Dave Weckel leans over to me and goes, wow, this guy's playing left foot clave. And at the time, not a lot of drummers were doing left foot clave. Horacio, this was, but this guy was doing left. And Weck leans over. He goes, he calls me Biss. I call him Weck. He goes, Biss, this guy's doing left foot clave. I go, yeah, he's got my vote. Yeah, me too. And he won. And it was Antonio Sanchez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's when we were all in that row judging, to see who'd win from all the contestants. But I remember sitting with Louie and Dennis is another one of my greatest friends and drum heroes. And
he said the same about you. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
The Olio thing. We said, yeah, Olio. And Dennis, of course, has a photographic memory. He knows Olio. And then we thought, well, after the interlude, we're going to go to another section. And Dennis thought, like, what? I wonder what we should play. And I still think of Dennis, with Parliament, with Schofield, with Pick Hits Live, with all the super funky stuff. And I was really into that Marcus Miller song, Doing the Butt. Sexy, sexy. Ain't nothing wrong when you want to do the butt all night long. So I said, what if we started with this? Ow. Ow. And Matt Dennis goes, yeah. And he lit up. And Matt, with the bass drum.
Yeah.
To the next level. And I was like, yeah, man. So that duet with Louie was so much fun. But boy, that trio, that was on another level. Dennis, what a firehouse, man. What the passion. Louie Bellson, when I think of Louie, I think of the passion that he had in life and drumming. And Dennis too, man. Dennis's passion. He just always took everything up a notch. I remember him telling me after that rehearsal, yeah, I never really studied. But we got in my little Porsche that I had, and he wanted to stop at Tower Records on Sunset. And he went in and bought so many VHS tapes that he could watch, go to his hotel room and learn. He just watched all these drum concerts, and he learned that way. Maybe not writing stuff out or studying at like a North Texas, but he studied drummers. He studied music. He studied Billy Cobham. He studied Tony Williams. He studied Buddy Rich. He really studied that way. And he was really close with my dad too, because a few years later, we did a gig together. And my dad, who was my drum tech, Bud, he was helping Dennis. He was setting his stuff up and broke his drums down. And Dennis was going, Bud, you don't have to help me. No, I want to help you, man. Come on. Because it was just about people.
That was your dad. Yeah.
We're all people. We're all just here to help each other and share the love,
Oh man, absolutely. And Louie, I heard this story about this story that Louie, and I think he confirmed it, but maybe the way I heard it wasn't 100% true, but I'm going to just tell it the way that I originally heard it, which was Louie and Buddy were on this would have been, I don't know, back maybe in the 40s or 50s. They were playing on the same bill together with different bands. And whatever the situation was, they asked Louie if he would introduce Buddy. Or maybe you know this story. Do you know this?
I don't know this story.
Supposedly, and it would seem out of character for Louie to say this, but it shows you his sense of humor. He went up to introduce Buddy Rich, and he said, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor and pleasure to introduce the only man who can be alone in a room and start an argument, Buddy Rich.
That is so great. I can hear Louie saying that.
Yeah.
He got so many funny lines. I remember one time, I remember the first time I did a clinic with Dennis, and I didn't know about Dennis yet. And so it was in rainy Manhattan, pouring down rain, and I flew from LA, and I think I did like a red eye. And so I get Ray Tregellis. Do you remember Ray?
Oh, sure. When he was working for Pearl, yeah.
He picks me up. I was with Pearl, and he picks me up, and he's going, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. It's a theater. It's all sold out. There's the guy from Suzanne Vega.
Steve Ferreira.
Steve Ferreira playing.
Yeah.
I go, oh, yeah, my name is Luca. I live on this. I know that song.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's all friendly drum battles. It's not like Peter Erskine said once when we did a drum duet at the Pro Sound in Denver. He said, let's not make it a drum battle. Let's not make it a drum duel. Let's make it a drum duet. And we played really musical. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to be cool. I can play that groove from, and he goes, and there's a new guy in town playing, he's with Schofield right now. And he wasn't a new guy. He was already with, Parliament and everything. But he goes, Dennis Chambers. I go, wow, Dennis Chambers. I can't wait to hear him, right? So he goes, but you're not going to get the sound check because all the drums, everything's set up. And it was with those really big CZX drums, like oversized toms.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm playing here, right? No sound check. And you can't really adjust. It's like Steven plays, then Dennis plays, and then I go after Dennis. Louie Bellson's line was like, whenever you're intimidated going after somebody else, he'd say, yeah, I always say, never follow a kid or a dog act.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, don't be in a situation where you're going to look bad. Well, boy, did I look bad, right? Because I'm sure
no.
Great. And I walk into this theater and it's sold out. And all I hear is Dennis on 11, just going for it. And polyrhythms and double pedal and just blistering.
All that. Yeah.
But all with a groove. And
yeah.
right there. And you can tap your foot to it. And everybody's heads are bobbing. And Dennis is just like, fourth gear, fifth gear. Everybody's still bobbing along. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I've never heard anybody like this. I'm following this guy. And then all of a sudden, I'm back in the dressing room, and Dennis comes into the dressing room, and I just go, Dennis, it's great to meet you. And he just goes like, and I like, follow that, right? I'm going, you got to be kidding. I go, can I adjust the drums? No, there's no time to adjust the drums. We're running a little overtime. Go play a solo. And all I could think about was how great Dennis was and how, Jocko would say, fear and anxiety and thinking is creativity's enemy. And if you're thinking about what you're going to play, you're dead in the water. And I'm just going, and then we come out for the round robin, right?
Yeah.
There's Steven on the far left, and there's Dennis in the middle, and there's me. So Steven's eights, right? He plays eights. And they're great. And then Dennis plays eights. And everybody in the theater is on their feet going, whoa! And then I play my eights, and it's like, yeah, okay, great.
No, come on.
Right. And then Steven's turn. And then Dennis's turn. Ah! And then my turn, and I'm just like, I want to get back on that airplane into my own bed.
To my regular-sized drums.
To my regular-sized drums, where I'm not freaked out, thinking about them. Because it's so much like that, from playing gigs. The first gig I played at the Baked Potato, I was doing great. It was with John Petitucci, Brandon Fields, David Garfield, Walt Fowler. We were having a blast. And all of a sudden, I see this guy walk in and sit at the bar. And it was Harvey Mason.
Oh.
I could play all these songs that he played on. And the great albums. And then I went over to the bar and I had a drink with him. And he goes, hey, man, it sounds great. And I'm going, he thinks it sounds great. Okay, so I played the next set fine, but you can just get so intimidated.
Yeah. No, I know. And Dennis, I know from working with Dennis long enough too, that it's part of his psychology is he'll always want to be the second to last guy on. He doesn't want to ever close the show.
Is that right?
He I'm letting you in a little trade secret that he likes to make somebody follow him. Like with Mike Mangini, when they would do these, he would insist that Mike follow him. Oh, well,
Mexico.
That was
That's Sorum, Dennis, and Mike Mangini, right?
No, that was a different one. But Dennis and Mike did something years later in Mexico. But the one we should talk. Okay, so Mexico, 1997 was you, Matt Sorum, Texas Tim Root, who opened the show, Stephen Perkins. And another guy.
Another one with Dennis and Mike Mangini, because I remember those two.
Oh.
Like on this, they were like talking drumming, like quantum physics, man.
Okay.
And you did the blue. I'm going, what?
Well, were you at the one? Were you at the one? Then maybe you were at this one too. Was it maybe about 10 years later?
Yeah.
In the two. And was it when Mike got really sick because he'd eaten a lot of?
That's the
yes.
one. Now,
okay, you were there. Okay, we were talking about that. Mike was eating everything in sight, drinking everything in sight.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and then at the end of the night, he's going.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I gotta the Zildjian Day 1997. It's funny because I wanted to mention this last time with Matt Sorum, and I don't know if you remember this. You had just flown in from like Japan or something. You literally had taken a red eye. You were jet lagged to the gills. And how you even
met yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, that's so funny. So and you came in and you were apologizing like when you got there, like, Johnny, I'm sorry, man, I don't want to let you down, and I just flew in from Japan, and and you killed it. You came out and you played, and you just and you were the last one to play. You were the headliner. Or maybe you went on before Matt. Matt was in Guns N' Roses still, and he was a big rock star. But anyway, do you remember Matt doing the stage dive? Were you there to see him?
All I remember about that night was at the airport the next day, because Matt stayed up all night long.
I'll tell you about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, so I think you might have gone on before Matt, and then maybe you got out of there because you were so tired. But Matt during the course of his performance, there were like, I don't know, 1,000 people in that auditorium. You remember they were like they were turning people away. It was crazy.
No air conditioning, sweat dripping from the ceiling.
Yeah, Armand and Andy Zildjian are sitting in the front row with a big smile on his face, and I'm worried for their safety because it was so crazy. So during Matt had been drinking. They gave us all these welcome baskets. Yeah, tequila and cookies and fruits, and Matt had probably gone 2/3 down on his fifth of tequila by the time you get up to play. And if you're watching this, I'm sorry, I got to tell this story. And so at some point he got up from behind the drums, and he's a big dude, Matt's he's a big beefy guy, decides to do a stage dive into the crowd. And they're holding him up, all 6'2", 220 pounds of him, and he's like looking up going, yeah. And I'm on stage and with a couple of the people trying to like reel him back in, get him back in. And when he finally got on stage, he realized his gold necklace was gone, and we looked for it later. But anyway,
expensive.
I remember. Yeah, what's that?
That was an expensive stage dive.
It was an expensive stage dive. And we had a dinner that night. I think you made it to the dinner, and then you were very concerned you didn't want to offend our hosts, Hermes Music, and you said, "Do you mind if I don't go out afterward?" They were taking us out to a
store. Armand, Zildjian, and Matt Sorum.
I know. And you were very smart. You went back to the hotel because you were exhausted. You went to sleep. But you played amazing that day. And this is where I'm going with this. We had this crazy night out. That's another story that I can't tell. But you could have like taken scenes from that night and put them into Pulp Fiction, and it would have fit. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like
a hangover.
Crazy night in Mexico City. And we get back to my hotel room, and it's Tim Root, it's Matt Sorum, it's Stephen Perkins, and me. And everybody wanted to get something to eat. We're trying to get room service. Matt, your room was next to my room. I somehow knew that you were in the room next door. And Matt was getting like jumped up on my bed, and I'm going, keep it down. Gregg's next door. He's trying to sleep. And Matt starts pounding on the wall going, "Hey, Bissonette, you chops, mother." And he's like, "Did you hear how great he played, man? He just like jet lag, gets off a plane, all them chops." And he's like banging on the wall going, "Wake up, you chops, mother."
Oh,
and it
my God. I love it.
You had to be there. I know.
I probably didn't wake up. See, I got this trip where I go to bed in hotels with a white noise machine. Okay, that's going.
Yeah.
Because, room service, like 6 a.m. No, I'm a musician. I don't wake up at 6 a.m. unless I have to. Or I go to the bathroom and I go back to bed. Room service, housekeeping. I don't want to hear. I got foam earplugs in. I got my mouth guard because I grind my teeth. I got an eye mask in case the sun happens to peek through. Even though I take my gaffer tape and I duct tape, this curtain so the light doesn't come in. And I got the white noise going through a Bose speaker. So he could be pounding, and I probably would have been out until my loud alarm goes off. And I don't even remember him pounding on the wall.
Oh, I think I talked to you a day or two later, and you said, I wear earplugs when I sleep. I slept through the whole thing. I was concerned. I really was. I was worried that.
It's pretty hard to wake me up. I mean, maybe if the fire alarm, they start dripping water on my. But I love to sleep. And Louie Bellson, this is another Louie thing because. Louie always was able to conserve his energy. And one thing, when you watch some drummers play, they go to do a really fast thing and they hold their breath and they go, and then you see popping out. Buddy had several heart attacks, right?
Yeah.
You saw Louie play, it was like this. He always had that, like he was breathing deep.
Yeah. That's the perfect Louie face.
He's like a martial artist. When you watch Louie, he's breathing. And breathing is so important. If you sing, if you play trumpet, if you do voiceovers, or you're just talking a general conversation, most people run out of gas at the end of a long sentence. Louie, he would breathe and he would pace himself. So I'm kind of an 8-hour guy. I go to bed at midnight, get up at 8, go to bed at 2, get up at 10. I don't do great for 6 hours. I want 8.
Yeah. No, that's great. I try to. We sometimes get into a thing where we end up going to bed way later. Like we'll say at 7:30. Okay, let's try to go to bed by 11 tonight. And then all of a sudden it's, we're watching an old Dick Van Dyke show or something, and it's like midnight. But I try to get up by 7. I just mentally. But sometimes I'll sleep a little later. I mean, I don't have anything I have to do, but you feel better when you get more sleep. But I just have to
9 hours. I'm rocking.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I just have to say a quick Mike Balter. I had seen the great Mike Balter Mallet Company commented, there was only one Louie Bellson, one of my teachers and dearest friends.
Wow.
Not only a musical influence, he's an influence on life itself. Perfectly said. I just wanted to share that. That's beautiful.
Louie.
And let's see, there was a comment I saw from Billy Amendola, who's on the moon right now, according to his Facebook post. I saw a picture of him and there's a moon behind him. So, the internet doesn't lie. He's on the moon. He was concerned about the Wi-Fi. He said, John, ask Gregg if he remembers when he played the MD Festival and Ron got his dad set up to watch a sports game.
Oh my gosh, do I ever. Hi, Billy, how are you? The great Ron Spagnardi and my dad and Billy, they all really hit it off. And my mom, Phyllis, my mom played jazz vibes with my dad. So my parents were jazz musicians. And I flew in from LA to do the Modern Drummer Festival years ago. I remember Mike Portnoy and I sat next to each other. I said, wow, what is that? I didn't even know what Carpe Diem meant in that year. He said, Carpe Diem, seize the day. I was like, wow. And we sat next to each other. And he really liked a lot of the David Lee Roth stuff. And we loved the Beatles, as you and
yeah, that's right.
Loves the Beatles, loves Ringo. And we were sitting there talking, and he got close with my mom and dad too. But my dad was just saying that the Detroit Lions game was on, or maybe it was the Detroit Red Wings hockey game. One of them, it was a championship game, a playoff game. And he was just going, man, I'm having a ball sitting here watching my son play. In fact, my brother Matt was on that bill too, because our band, the Mustard Seeds,
I remember that
band to play on the Modern Drummer Festival. And Ron just clocked what my dad said, and Isabel. And they sent someone home, or maybe Ron went home and got his TV with the rabbit ears and the tinfoil, put it in my dressing room so my dad could watch us play and watch the Detroit Lions, who I'm sure lost. The year he passed, they went 0-18. I mean, you're from Boston, Tom Brady country, Patriot. The Detroit Lions haven't been in a Super Bowl ever, and they haven't been in a championship since 1957 when Bobby Lane was the quarterback. So I was just saying, my dad passed in 08, my mom passed in 06. I was just praying, please, Lord, let the Lions get in the Super Bowl. Now, I think the year before he passed, they went 0-18. It's pretty hard to go 0-18. And then we thought, well, Matt Stafford, he's going to be our great hope. Now he's on our LA Rams. And they flip-flopped. Jared Goff's on the Detroit Lions. And I hope that line can protect him better than they protected Matt Stafford. But my dad was sitting there watching that game. He was in heaven. He's got
That's so cool.
He's got his bride of all those years. They used to have a joke. And he'd say, yeah, been married 50 years. And my mom would say, it feels like 50 minutes underwater. She didn't really say that. That was our joke. It was a joke we had that she would have said that. But she loved. They were both all about humor, all about having fun.
I know.
They watched that Lions game and they watched us. So thank you, Billy. Thank you, Ron.
I remember when you guys played. That was so awesome with the mustard seeds. That was, and you did. I think part of that was also you did your tribute to Ringo as part of that.
You remember that? Yeah. I did a tribute to Ringo, and I printed out little pieces of paper. And Robin Flanz, a few years later, she did a Modern Drummer interview with Ringo, and she brought that. And she asked Ringo to sign it. And Ringo doesn't sign anymore, but this is in the, I forget the year, early 90s, I guess. And Ringo, in the interview, he signed it, wow, Ringo. And so I thought that was so cool. I'm going to show you that right now.
Yeah, let me see.
This is my little drum room here. Here's my Beatle collection since I was a kid. So here we go. Beatle collection, ready, and boom. And if you look
at that
here, tribute to Ringo, and you see, wow, Ringo Starr. Tribute to Ringo. We got, Tomorrow Never Knows, Drive My Car, Ticket to Ride, Strawberry Fields, In My Life, Come Together, Birthday, Twist and Shout, Tell Me Why, and The End. And he just thought it was so cool that some guy wrote that out, So Robin was so amazing, and Ringo loved, Robin's interviews. She did several covers of, like here, I happen to have this.
Everybody loves Robin.
Yeah. How about that? That was the 25 years. And if you would have told me I would be on 4 Modern Drummer covers, I would have said, what?
How cool is that? Yeah.
Yeah, Robin did some great interviews with Ringo. Here's a little fun time. Radio City Music Hall. Paul played on Ringo's birthday with us. And from left to right, Edgar Winter, Mark Rivera, Paul, Joe Walsh, and Rick Derringer.
Wow.
That was super fun. Here's a fun thing from when after we played Birthday and Ringo ran up on the stage. Look at those two hugging right there.
Oh man, and I'm behind them, priceless.
Crying tears of joy.
I know you're in the shot. How amazing is that you're in the shot too? That is so cool.
We got that one there with Bud and I.
I've seen that. Yep.
We got this one. We did the tribute to George Harrison video, Never Without You. And then that was another one from that one. Just so many great memories, and we sure hope we're going to be on the road here soon. I'm hoping for June.
Me too.
I'm really thinking September is looking really good.
That's great. And I'm gonna say a quick hi to my bandmate Neil Porter, who's watching. Who you met? You met Neil?
You better believe it, man. Grand Theft Audio.
Amazing. My wife doesn't remember the name of the band.
Oh my God! But she knows when you keep practicing this, it helps.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's
playing that same thing over and over because it's hard. Ringo.
Because it's hard. Because I can't do it. Yeah, exactly.
I can't either.
Double stops. Yeah.
Double stop.
Yeah.
People used to say when I started doing those clinics about Ringo, yeah, Ringo doesn't have all that fast of chops, like Buddy Richards. And Ringo, I said, yes, he does. He just doesn't go a lot. But those double stops, that's the equivalent of like a super, super fast Buddy Rich single stroke roll. Ringo has those chops. He
Absolutely.
plays for the song, but when he wants to let those out, man, look out. And his new single, Here's to the Nights, you could go on YouTube and watch the video. Going into the last chorus, on the ends of a lot of songs will be bah, and he'll get on the tom and go, I mean, really to a whisper, and then to a roar, and to a whisper. And the band will follow his dynamics. And he'll lean over sometimes and he'll look down at my double pedal, like, come on, throw some of that double pedal stuff in there. You know, bah. Well, he did one of those blistering Ringo single stroke rolls on this song, Here's to the Nights, going into the last chorus on that YouTube video where he's miming to the song he did, but still, it's what he played. Bam! And I called him. I said, man, I'm so happy to hear you play that single stroke roll in such a musical way. I've heard you do it at the ends of our songs, but I've never heard you do that in a song. And he said, yeah, it just felt like the right thing to do. He plays but for the song in the moment. It's all in the moment.
Yeah, yep.
What a great song.
I'm going to check that out. And I remember when we would do those clinic tours and you would do the tribute to Ringo, and you didn't have to sell me on it, but there would be so many people whose minds would be changed because and the way I look at it, Gregg, is all it takes is just, you and I grew up loving the Beatles. And so it wasn't a stretch for us to listen to Ringo's drumming, to analyze it. Whereas I think, and not to say people that didn't like the Beatles don't like Ringo, but my point is that if people that don't listen critically to what he did, they just dismiss it as being, oh, he's just playing a simple 2 and 4 beat. But when like you said, when you look at some of these songs like Day Tripper, you know, a lot of the old stuff that he did, he played some incredibly fast stuff, like in just a little spot, you know, where you realize.
To me, it's these people, they want to write off, you know, they want to write that off as a simple beat. That's not a simple beat to get like the band to groove together and have that band time. You can put on any Beatles track, any Ringo solo track. You don't notice things speeding up or slowing down. George Martin could pick takes together from different takes and make a complete version because Ringo's time is so solid and he's got that pocket. And Keith Richards always said, man, you can set a watch to Ringo. His tempo is just so unbelievably solid. And so when people think simple, it's funny because I would hear straight ahead jazz players from the 50s, you know, dismissing the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin, you know, Ringo Starr, Charlie Watts, John Bonham, 3 of the greatest musical drummers ever. And then you get a jazz guy, and I don't want to say a jazz guy, but maybe a jazz purist that only likes to play swing. And then they try to play a Beatles track or a Stones track, and it just doesn't sound good. And they're playing too much. And Ringo, the only song that he even says he played so much on is Rain. But you listen to Rain, and you listen to those fills, and you listen to the way they swing. I was listening to Sirius XM all day yesterday, and I heard In My Life came on, and I just thought about Ringo's favorite drummer probably ever is Cozy Cole, Topsy. And I know Ringo really was a fan of Gene Krupa, and that's dance music. Ringo, the Beatles, they made people dance, even in their seats. And you see Ringo dancing sometimes in Hard Day's Night and stuff.
Yeah.
He dances when he plays, and he swings. And you listen to a straight-eight song like Day in the Life. I read the news today, oh boy. And the great compression on the drum. He loves low tom-toms, but that's swinging. Slow version of Sing, Sing, Sing. He's always got that swing. It's not straight up and down stiff. And a lot of people that dismiss great bands like the Beatles and the Stones and Zeppelin or the Police or other great classic bands, they don't really pay attention. And I think they just don't know because they're ignorant to it. They don't take the time to listen. Or they were older and they wanted to write it off. Like Hal Blaine used to always tell me how much he loved Ringo. And he would say that a lot of the older crowd of session musicians in LA that always wore suits and ties to sessions. And they would bust on Hal Blaine and Carol Kay and Don Randy, the wrecking crew, because they're going to wreck the business. These guys coming in, with suits. But the thing about one of the reasons why Hal was so popular and played on so many songs is he loved the Beatles and he loved Ringo and he got inside the music. And of course, he's going to be asked to play on Tommy Road Dizzy. Because he got it, and he knows it's not. There's a swing to that.
Yeah, exactly.
With all those great bands he played with, Hal learned from Ringo because he loved the music first, and he really paid attention, and he dissected it. Wow, if I can cop a little bit of Ringo's feel, people will probably want me to play on their albums, and boy, did they.
Absolutely, yeah. And you talked about A Day in the Life. My band plays that song.
You really? And Grand Theft Auto plays A Day in the Life?
Yeah,
The 1, 2, 3. Woke up, got out of bed. How do you do all that?
We there's a lot of visual, a lot of
click going on. Do you have a click?
No, there's no click. Thank God, because I'd be all over.
Okay.
But we get to that quiet spot, and I think we count 8, and I just sort of count 8 on the hi-hat. Do.
But isn't Mal Evans or somebody going 1, 2, 3?
Oh, that's during that whole lead up to it. Yes.
How do you do it?
I count 24.
24. There you go.
24, but again, one of the guitar players, Paul Candelore, and I have a lot of visual contact to where sometimes we go a little longer if it's just feeling really good, because we're doing it as a 4-piece band, and he's making incredible sounds. I will say he's got his guitar and he's making all those like sounds from his guitar, like
beautiful.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's but those fills at the end.
You guys playing that? Could you send me it?
If I can find one, I will. Yeah, there might be one. Yeah, but those fills at the end are like, they're deadly. I mean, they really are. I mean, if you try to play them the right way.
Yeah, and they're just so improvisatory and for the moment. And Ringo really goes off the vocals, man. When I'm making the drum charts and learning what the bass is doing, he's going out. He likes lyric sheets. And what could be more important than having the lyric sheets? So you leave space for the most important thing, the lyrics. That's what I feel about gospel chops, gospel chops. I mean, I grew up playing in church too, and the gospel is the gospel, the word of God, and you're going to cover up the gospel. That's not the gospel. Amazing grace. Amazing grace. How sweet. What is that all about, right? But it's amazing drumming, but don't cover up the words.
I know. Paul Gianelli, one of my other bandmates, is saying, be careful with the videos. Hey, by the way, anybody watching in the local area, or not even in the local area, Neil Porter and Paul Gianelli and Neil's wife, Charlene, will be doing a live Facebook tonight at 8:00 Eastern time, 3/5 of GTA. The two missing guys.
Did you ever hear what Ringo said when Jack Bruce was in the band and they played a show and Ginger Baker came to the show and Jack Bruce said, hey, on a little help, could Ginger come up and play on your drums, And he said, sure, right? So I don't know if Simon Kirke was playing or Sheila E. or Zach or Keltner and Levi. No, I think it was the tour with Jack Bruce, so it would have been Simon Kirke. So there's Ginger on the other drum set, I guess. I wasn't there. But Ringo, talk about quick and spur of the moment. He turns around. There's Jack Bruce on bass, Ginger Baker on drums, and Ringo says, ladies and gentlemen, 2% cream. He's so sharp, man.
He's sharp. He's sharp. Hey, Greg, can we bring a special surprise guest into the room for a second? Ringo's here.
Ringo, thanks for coming on the show, man.
He wants to join. I hope I didn't lose him.
Charlie Watts?
Better than Charlie Watts.
Better than Charlie Watts.
Better than Charlie Watts.
Let me think. Who could it be? Who could it be knocking at our door? Who could?
Well, we'll soon see. And I had to find a little button to let him in. It's my son, John Jr.
Christopher Jr. is on our show. How the heck are you, buddy?
Let him in.
Oh,
hello.
Hey, there you are.
How are you guys? Greg, good to see you, man.
Extreme shirt on, man. What a great band.
So, yeah, this is Pops' old shirt. This is my dad's old shirt from, I don't know, he was my age when he got it.
Wow.
you're right. I was 1991. I was 31. I was a little younger than you, actually.
Right. So this is a vintage classic.
That is vintage. They opened up for us with David Lee Roth in Boston. They were on our tour. What a fun bunch of guys, man.
I remember that. Yeah. My old buddy, Paul Geary.
Paul Geary, what a great guy, great drummer. I remember
Yeah.
taking him once. Sorry, Johnny D. Jr.
No, that's okay.
I took Paul Geary to the LP factory, and Paul was so funny because he's sitting there with our friend Martin Cohen, and Martin goes, "What do you want? What can I get you? We got all these, and we got this and this, and the tamales and the congas and the bongos and the claves and the güiro." And Paul says, "Do you have those two things that sound like when Fred Flintstone got in his car and the people?" He's going, that's all he wanted, but he got them for him, like temple blocks. How you doing, Johnny D. Jr.? Want to play
Great,
Rosanna?
I can play better than I can, hopefully, when I was 6.
Are you behind your drums right now? I see a
I
high.
am. I'm even using the Gregg Bissonette sheet trick.
You are? Oh, man, Johnny D. Jr. Hey, so listen, I got to tell the people that didn't see our first show, you were 7 years old, I think, and you came to my, was that right? 7?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And you
7.
came to my drum clinic at the Sheraton in downtown Boston. And you got up and you played Rosanna at 7 years old. And that is not an easy beat. And I was praying for you, man. I'm going, boy, oh boy, he's got some major gonads to get up and play Rosanna. That's a hard Jeff Porcaro beat. Could you demonstrate that now that you're, how old?
33 now.
33. Yeah. Be careful of that year, man.
It's not the year, it's the mileage,
the year
Greg.
They got Jesus.
Yeah.
33.
That's right.
No. Anyway.
Listen to Indiana Jones. It's not the year, it's the mileage, Greg. You know, you gotta make sure.
Man. Harrison, let's hear a little Rosanna. Come on.
All right, so I don't know if you remember, but that day I also told a joke. I don't have a joke today. But while we were on stage, I told a terrible guitarist joke.
Do you remember the joke?
I do. It was a bad taste. It was a bad joke. I said, well, actually, I feel like I was a punk. My dad really doesn't tell the story very well.
Well, you probably got the joke from me, I think, right?
The joke from you. I think I went up there and I said, "Who thinks I can't do it?" You know.
Yeah, I do remember.
Man.
Yeah.
And then and told the joke. I think the joke was before I played, and the joke was, "What do you throw a drowning guitar player?" His amp.
I love that. I remember you telling that now.
And this went on to snowball into years and years of anti-guitarist, anti-bassist, and singer type drummer jokes.
How do you know when a lead singer's knocking on your hotel room door?
They forgot the key.
There you go.
Yeah.
They find the key and they don't know where to come in.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's hear Rosanna.
All right.
Oh.
I think there's a setting on your laptop. You gotta let the drum sound in. What's that setting, Johnny?
I don't know, but you know what? Johnny, you know what? I think it's canceling it out.
Yeah, there's a zoom setting. I've noticed this over the last year.
It's because I'm too loud here.
No, even if you play soft, play real soft. Watch.
Now it's a drum lesson.
Yeah, when you play a little bit louder, it cancels you out. There's a setting. If anybody knows Zoom, please chime in and message Johnny. What does Johnny D. Jr. have to do?
You'll probably do it with hooking up like a condenser mic with a little more preparation.
I don't even have a mic on mine, but I hit the setting. My buddy Aaron Rudin's he's a great drummer, but he's really technical. He said, "Oh, just undo this setting and you can go." You play and I'll mime you. Ready? Go. 1, 2, go.
I'm finding that setting there.
This is background music for the great
Rich
Jr.
Okay, here we go. I've got it.
You got it?
Okay. Rich says to shut off the auto volume. Shut off auto.
That, and I'm also
He said
suppressing
shit. Okay.
things here. Auto volume is off. Oh, you want to try it? Let's try it. You guys can still see me, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that better?
Let's see.
We're still muted, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What does
I
it
can
look
tell
like?
you're grooving like a madman. Jeff
Yeah.
Picaro is beaming down from heaven going, Johnny D Jr.'s got it, but we can't hear you, darn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to figure something out.
Rob-
better.
We gotta do part 3.
Yeah, we got to do part 3. Rob Wallace says click the arrow next to the auto mute button.
Yeah.
Roberto. If anybody
And Therese DiMuzio says turn on original sound on Zoom.
Well, those are 2 things I've heard before that I've done. So try both of those, Johnny.
Okay, so
What did Rob say?
Rob said
On original
click-
sound. I like that music. Okay, here we
Yeah.
go.
click
What
the
did
arrow
Therese
next.
say? Hi,
Everybody's a
Therese.
Zoom expert now. I love it.
Hi,
Yeah, Therese said turn on original. Hi, Therese. Hi, Rob.
You're telling great stories about your dad, Therese. I remember one time Therese came backstage to a David Lee Roth concert, and Lennie goes, "Oh, I don't think she should see a lot of things going on." She said, "Dad, I've seen all this before."
Yeah, she has. She can hang with the best of them.
She can hang with the best of them, man. Jump back,
Absolutely.
Therese. Okay, you got it? With the great advice of Roberto Wallace and Therese DiMuzio. Look at that.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we're getting it.
Thank you, Rob and Therese.
It's working now. You can hear it. It sounds
Yeah.
the same to me. It's very weird.
Oh, but it's not canceling the microphone. So
Okay, cool.
Oh,
Nice.
my gosh. That is so clean and so smooth.
So
Way to go.
I was hoping that you would try to do the Dennis version.
Of Rosanna?
Yeah, you remember he used to do it. Dad, do you remember Dennis doing the Rosanna beat at his clinics? And he'd be like, "Yeah, you know, Jeff
Let me
was
hear it. Let me hear it.
What do you? No, I mean I can practice Rosanna for
Great,
the
so
Did a lot. When I first moved to town, I saw a clinic of his, and he doubled all of his strokes. Instead of this
Yes.
beat, instead of this, he doubled everything.
Yes.
Maybe you could play a Rosanna doubled.
See, exactly.
That would be. I'm going to work on that.
He did
Whoa.
something on the ride where he was alternating off the bell. Like it was.
okay, yeah.
You're doing it. That's it.
But he would totally throw in like way more left, way more double strokes.
Maybe triplets on the bass drum too
his-
sometimes. Yeah.
He's doing flams and
Like
crap.
kind of like a.
Yeah.
I can imagine Dennis taking that to Mars.
He always kept that ghost note really solid though too. You know, I mean that was so
Yeah.
key. It was awesome. Yeah, I mean,
Did you
Greg,
see
I gotta-
the Zildjian Live thing, that video with Spud playing keyboard. Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Curious, man. Yeah. Well, it's great to see you. You look like a movie star.
Oh well.
Doesn't he? He's a handsome devil.
I look like a movie star too, Barney Rubble.
You look the same, man. I gotta say, you look exactly the same. You're the same way I remember. I gotta
No,
tell
stop, really, stop. Come on, get up. Johnny, come on. No, you look like a movie star, man. You should be in like the new Quentin Tarantino movie or something. Once
Well,
Upon
nobody-
a Time in Hollywood Part 2.
Yeah. Well, we need more people in movies in general right now. So.
Sure do. But in LA, you know, it's a whole different thing, Johnny. Next time you come out here, if you go to lunch with somebody, if you say you saw their movie, whether they're a director or a camera person or an actor or actress, whatever, if you say, I really like your new movie, you get castrated because it's a film.
Yeah.
Even like
Right.
SpongeBob. SpongeBob is a film. I love your latest SpongeBob
It's a
film.
film.
It's all films now. No
Well, and you don't watch them. You screen them. You screen these
the
films.
films. And you don't have popcorn with a movie anymore. You have popcorn and watch some films.
Yeah, I mean, at my house these days, Greg, my wife and I are saying like Scorsese would just hate us. I mean, it's constant Marvel, Jurassic Park, terrible. I mean,
I love those films.
I'm sorry, I'm guilty of it myself. I've watched all of the sagas.
I heard you drew a Jurassic Park drawing for the great Louie Bellson.
This is full circle. So this is so funny. My kids are now drawing Jurassic Park pictures. And at the time, I remember the picture I drew. I mean, it was the electric truck when the Tyrannosaurus comes, and it was green and
Louie
red.
Carried it everywhere. Louie kept it in his.
He used to remind me of it all the time. I got to say a quick shout out to Troy Luccketta, who's watching.
Troy Luccketta, another of the greatest bands that ever toured with us with David Lee Roth. We love Tesla. We love Troy. Troy, my brother, God bless you. How are you?
Love Troy. And I met Troy through you, Greg. You called me when I was at DW from a production phone when Tesla was opening for David Lee Roth. I remembered this. You said, I got to hook you up with this guy, this band. And I Tesla.
We can't say hook up anymore, though. That's a different thing now, Johnny. Your son will tell you. I didn't hook you up.
Well, I don't know what the word would be now, but anyway, you connected me to Troy and Fred Corey, Cinderella, when they were opening for you guys too. But I met
another great drummer, great guy, great.
Yeah, and when Tesla's first record went gold, Troy sent me the first gold record I ever got working in the drum industry was from Troy Luccketta was Tesla's first album.
Oh,
Mechanical Resonance.
Troy and I just played on the Keith Emerson Memorial concert together. Wait till you hear what Troy does on there, man. He's
great drummer.
And Troy is the nicest guy because I forget who it was in the band, the keyboard player. He wanted to do a whole different tempo. And I'm going, no. It was Lucky Man, I think, or something. It's a whole different tempo. And Lukather and Mark Bonilla and I are all going, what? Eddie Jobson, I think. I forget who it was. But they wanted to do a whole different tempo. And I would have gone, no, man, this is the tempo. This is Emerson, Lake and Palmer. But Troy was like, hey, whatever you want. He was the Louie Bellson of that gig, man.
Yeah.
Killed it. Troy just killed it with a smile on his face. And it turned out great because that's a great drummer. Somebody that can take a tempo that really isn't the right tempo for a song, but can make it feel like the right tempo.
Yeah.
Troy's feel. Troy has an amazing feel. And he did a trick on my VHS tape machine years ago where I said, Troy, say something for my brother, and he opened his mouth like this, and his mouth was so huge it looked like a horse, and it was right there, and we always joke about that. It was like, and Jeff, the singer, I just saw Jeff at a Ringo show in Chicago. Anyway, great band, Tesla, great band, Cinderella.
Yeah, great bunch of guys. And Rick Latham is watching too, and he says hello to everybody.
Say hi to Rick, man.
Funky Rick, yeah.
Studies, brother. Edgar Winter.
Yeah. Oh, we got some good folks watching. Fred Beto.
Freddie!
Man, yeah.
Now, there's a Beatle fan right there.
Yeah.
Spanish. Do you know what the Beatles would be in Spanish, Johnny? Or Johnny D. Jr.? Do you know what that would be in Spanish? The Beatles.
El Beatos.
Close. I learned this at a Hermes clinic in Mexico City. Los Escarabajos.
Oh, okay.
Los Escarabajos, the Beatles, the little bugs, right? Los Escarabajos. But Freddie Beto, the first time I met him, I was wearing my Beatle boots. I had those winkle pickers, and we talked about all day. Love my Beto bags, Freddie. I love my Beto bags.
Me too, man. Me too. The best. Beto bags, everybody.
Dodger blue Beto bags.
Ooh.
Dodger blue. Yeah.
That's pretty. He does amazing. I mean, the quality and the cool graphics that he does.
Mariano. Yeah.
Yeah. He sent guitar straps to all the guys in my band, which was so nice and so sweet of him. He said, I made these, give them to you guys. And so they use Beto guitar straps.
El Gato.
The cat.
Anyway.
Johnny, where are the kids?
The kids are upstairs. They're probably on. They were all wiped out after our hike in the woods in the snow. I can go talk to them if you want.
That's all right. We'll get them.
Shy when I was talking about this earlier. So.
Yeah, that's all right. We don't want. I mean, I'd love to see them, but.
How old are your kids now?
It's hard depending on how you ask them. Dylan would tell you he's 0.
0.
He's going to turn 3 this year.
Okay.
Fiona's going to turn 6.
Beautiful.
But man, day to day as far as their age. I mean, one time he's 2 and then he's really 4, telling you all this stuff. He's just got potty trained, so.
Yeah.
Lord is good. Noah is 22 and Mary, daughter, is 19. So that 3-year gap is great,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
That's so cool, man.
Johnny, you got an early start, man. Your son is a movie star already.
I know.
33.
I know. He's 33. I did get an early start. And you'll see, Greg, when Noah and Mary get a little bit older, how it flips to where they become the parents.
Yeah. And
you become the child, because now I have to defer to him when I have a question about something. Or Kelly will say, what do you think is a good kind of tire to buy for the car? And I go, well, I'm pretty happy with Michelin. She'll go, I'm going to ask Johnny. I'll ask Johnny. Okay.
Well, they advise me all the time,
Yeah.
You can't wear those shoes with those pants. You can't do this with that. You got to do this shit. Laptops, computers, iPads, phones, just everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've always been super self-sufficient in the technology world. I mean, there's rarely anything. I mean, don't make it sound like you're calling me and asking me stuff. I mean, it's typically, even when I was younger, there were more flashing lights and beeping noises in our house growing up than typical.
John, your dad's a pretty smart character.
I think he likes tech like I do. That's probably where I do.
Yeah, I think so.
I got a fax machine last week. I just love this new concept. I love that sound. I just love the whole fax thing. Have you guys gotten a fax machine yet?
I'm saving up for one. It's a little pricey for me, but I'm saving up.
Best Buy, you can go 1 year, 0 down, 0 payments. 0 interest. Payments, but 0 interest.
Hey, if anybody was watching the first interview, I'm taking off my shirt because. That's better. I was getting warm. But I want to tell everybody, if you recognize that shirt that Greg is wearing, he liked my shirt so much, I took it off after the one we did a couple of weeks ago, and I mailed it to him. I didn't even wash it. I just put it in an envelope and mailed it to Greg, and it looks even better on him.
I didn't know. I was wondering what that smell was. I thought it was asparagus or broccoli.
Oh, man. Well, man, this is,
I want your Speed Racer shirt, man. Go, Speed Racer, go.
Yeah.
Go, Speed.
Yeah. Yeah. These are all the.
Were you a Speed Racer guy?
I'm using the Armand ride today.
Armand. We were just talking about him.
Armand's birthday.
Yeah.
100 years is crazy, man.
I know. I was going to say, I remember we made a videotape on his 70th birthday. He would spend the winters in Arizona, and this would have been 1991, 30 years ago. Somebody was walking around with one of those old VHS cameras, like camcorder, I guess is what we called them back then. And everybody did like a little 30-second greeting for him. And I just remember thinking, wow, this was 30 years ago. Armand's 70. And that seemed old, right? I mean, you're 61.
Armand's wonderful wife, Andy, took a train from Arizona after Armand passed to be at my dad's funeral. Took a train to LA and a train back just to be there. What a special woman.
Yeah.
My mom used to say, "Oh, it's the Bud and Armand show at the NAMM show. It's the Bud and Armand show. Let's go out to the bar or go do some shopping." Yeah, the NAMM shows for my mom and for Andy, it was like,
oh, torture, yeah.
Torture, yeah.
But those two together and Lennie, when you put them all together, that was some of the funniest. You could hear the three of them laughing, like over all the noise of the NAMM show. You could hear your dad, you could hear Armand. They had those unique laughs, and yeah.
My dad would always do these handshakes where he'd handshake and then he'd pull you into them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Armand would always come like this. He'd say, "I'm ready for you, Bud. I'm ready for that handshake. Give it to me, man. I'm ready for you." And then they'd go to the bar. You're always going to the bar.
Yeah.
And you guys had a bar.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, we did. Johnny, you never met Greg's dad, but Bud was the greatest, nicest guy, big guy too.
Awesome.
And just the kindest, funniest, Midwestern great guy,
He was a tasty bread driver during the day, and he played jazz gigs at night. And when I was about 12, I'd go and set up his drums, and I'd say, what can I do, Dad? And he'd say, well, when we do Joy to the World, you got it, I'm going to go have a beer. So we were so equipped for that song because we didn't have a vocalist. We had a tenor sax player. He had a tenor sax player, an upright bass, and accordion. So if you can imagine, Jeremiah was a boat from, I got to tell my pal Floyd Sneed, we didn't even have vocals on that. But my dad would make an excuse for him to go to the bar.
Oh, that's so great.
That's awesome.
Floyd Sneed, great drummer. Great drummer.
Great guy. Yeah, I just got in touch with him
killer.
About a year ago.
That beat is killer. The Three Dog Night stuff, especially.
It's just his syncopation, If I were the king of the world, tell you what I do. Just.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Syncopated, cool.
All that, between the snare and the hi-hat, great stuff. I mean, you didn't hear guys playing like that on like pop records back then.
And the photograph on the rooftop on the Naturally album with Jeremiah was Joy to the World and Liar and all those Mama Told Me Not to Come. That photograph on Three Dog Night Naturally. Wow. I think he had a set of clear fives.
They were Zicos.
Zico.
But same idea. Yeah, they were even louder than fives drums somehow, and they were big sizes too. Zicos. Yeah. He's one guy. I never met him, and I wish I had. I wish I could have met him when I was working for Zildjian, and thrown him if he needed a couple of cymbals or something. Just because I just respect the guy and love the guy.
Very nice.
The guy's
guy.
playing.
Really cool. Very humble.
Yeah. Heck of a drummer too.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. Well, this has been great, guys. I'm going to just see if there's any questions on here that I might have missed, just to do our part here to answer, so it's not just all of us, but everybody else.
You know Danny Kim?
Yes, I know Danny Kim.
A great LA drummer. He might have given a question, but now he's texted me, so I think he might have a question. Danny, I'm waiting for it. You're typing. I can see you typing.
Yeah. There's a lot of comments, so you'll get it faster than me.
Let's field a few questions.
All right. I don't see Danny's question, so if he texts it to you, I'll let you answer it.
Okay, he's got a great drum forum too.
Oh, he does? Danny does? I'll have to find it.
Danny has a LA drum forum or something like that.
Okay.
He's texted me. It's about something else. Sorry about that. Was there a song going to ask Jimmy Brantley to play bass? He wants me to play some bonehead piano on a video. I am a real bonehead piano player. So I guess he's not watching this. It's something else. But anyway, I'll get back to that later. So any questions? Any questions, everybody? I apologize if people have written questions and I've missed them. I'm scrolling through here. Just a lot of great people are saying hi and love you, and let's see. Sorry, scrolling. Myron was over the other day.
Oh.
Do you know about Dean Zimmer?
Dean Zimmer.
I would like for everybody that's watching to go on YouTube and type in Dean, D-E-A-N, Zimmer, Z-I-M-M-E-R, drummer wanted. Dean was born with arthrogryposis. He puts sticks in his hand and ties a string around them so they'll stay in his hand. He can't walk. He's in a wheelchair. But, man, when he gets on the drums, double bass, he and Myron and I were over here playing the other day. We call it Dino's Jukebox. And we let Dean call all the songs. And the first song he called was Mark Cranny on Brother to Brother, and he nailed all the fills. But it takes Dean so long to get out of his wheelchair and get onto the ground and slither over to the seat and get his head back on the throne and get up on the throne, but boy, you never want to complain about anything ever again, because Dean Zimmer never, ever complains about anything. He just gets up there, and for 3 hours, we just played songs. We call it Dino's Jukebox. I would just call up songs on YouTube. Myron would play a song, and I would be on the mic singing or whatever, and then we'd trade off. We played Brother to Brother. He requested Myron's Invincible, and I told the story about the Invincible snare. He loved it. And he missed it. And we played We played Dance the Night Away by Van Halen. We played so many songs and had a blast. But Dean Zimmer, please watch that YouTube video, everyone. Dean Zimmer, Drummer Wanted. He even brings his own drums to rehearsals and auditions, puts them in his van, gets over onto the driver's seat. He's got the steering wheel rigged a certain way. This will inspire you, and it's the greatest drumming video you'll ever see. Dean Zimmer, Drummer Wanted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Myron and I met Dean through Mark Cranny and the Woodland Hills Drum Club. He's a great friend of Terry Bozzio and Don Lombardi. Don's had him out at the Drum Channel. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my drum school if I could. I have a drum school. It's called the Gregg Bissonette Drum School with Don Lombardi at the Drum Channel. So please, we have like a few days left. It's half off right now. It's a great bargain, but on March 1st, it goes back to full price. John and I have been shooting stuff for the last 10 years, filming, not movies, but films of all kinds of vocabulary in every style you can imagine. So please sign up for my school, drumchannel.com.
Yeah.
Drum school. And so Dean was out to one of those episodes, and Don gave him his own custom-made kit.
Oh, man, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's so great. Well, I'm glad I meant to remind everybody about that, Gregg. So that's awesome. And Kenny Holton is saying, Gregg, whatever happened to Mr. Coutant? You came to our high school in 77 or 76. Mr. Coutant, Coutant, Coutant? I don't know. Kenny, I think where's Kenny? Are you in Florida? I'm trying to think where Kenny Holton is.
Mr. Coutant.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know is this too schmoozy, Johnny? I'm doing, besides my drum school, I'm also doing FaceTime lessons and Zoom lessons, and people can hire me to play on their songs at the studio, but it's called Woodcliff Studios, and this is Frank's address. He got this greggdrums2@gmail.com, and I do the lessons at his studio, Woodcliff Studios, and I also do the recording sessions for people playing on tracks. So greggdrums2@gmail.com.
Beautiful.
Frank Rosanna, just a great engineer. I have one of my Ringo tour kits. They're all mic'd up. And so it's really been great during the whole lockdown stuff too.
That's great. This has been so much fun. I know we're getting to be at the 90-minute mark, so I won't keep you much. But guys, don't jump off yet. I'm going to end the stream, and then we'll come back to the room and say our goodbyes in the Zoom room. But I'll sign off to the live stream. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. I will put this up on YouTube just in a little bit later. And I'm just looking to see one more time if I missed anything. I apologize if I didn't see your question.
While you're looking, Johnny, keep looking. I want to thank all my sponsors for me being able to go around the world and play drums and do clinics. Dixon, my drums are Dixon. My cymbals are Sabian. Remo drum heads, Vic Firth sticks, LP percussion, DW double pedal and pedals, and I have a tambourine pedal with them and with LP. It's a tambourine pedal you can play with your left foot, and direct sound headphones, and I'm just honored to be parts of all those companies. And Johnny, you and I go back so far to the time Myron introduced us when you were working at Simmons. Was it 83?
85.
85, okay.
85, yeah. I know.
85. So you got to have Myron on one time.
I know, I will do that. Yeah. And you know, if he's shy about it, I may ask you to help me persuade him to do it, you know? Yeah. I would love to do that. And I just want to say, I'm sorry we didn't get into a lot of this, Gregg. We got into so much other stuff, but I had wanted to talk a little bit about your education and your dedication to teaching and clinics. But I'm glad you put up all that information with the, you know, greggdrums2@gmail.com, and you know, people can.
When I was a kid, my parents said, "Why do you want to get a performance degree? Why don't you do what the sax player in our wedding band did and get a music education degree? That way, when you move to LA, as your dream is," and I was like 18 at the time. When you move to LA, I know your dream is to be a recording session and touring drummer. But if that doesn't work out, or you're not able to make enough money, what about being like a middle school or high school or college band director? So I got my degree in music ed, Bachelor of Music Education degree, and I love teaching. I just absolutely love teaching. Drum clinics, drum seminars, master classes, but private teaching. I really love private teaching, and it's all stemming back from the days of getting that music ed degree.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're still doing it too. And I'll just say, and I can say this, I traveled all over the world with lots of great drummers, lots of great clinicians. But if you look at the definition of a clinician, there's nobody better than Gregg. And I, you know, I may get some flack from some other guys. I apologize, but I have to be honest. I mean, and the true definition of what a clinician does. And there are a lot of great teachers and clinicians out there, but I mean, you're the whole package. And
that means the world to me, Johnny. We've traveled the world together, and I hope we get to in the future.
Yeah, me too.
You know, you're just such a great friend, and how great to have Johnny D Jr. here, killing it on Rosanna and doing the Dennis Chambers version of Rosanna.
Yeah.
So don't go great. Spreading that around.
Proud of you, man. Very proud of you. I know your father is too.
I am.
Thank you so much. I mean, hey, I've been, I've been exposed and given a lot. I mean, this is, I didn't realize how cool you people actually were. I thought you were just my dad's cool friends when I was growing up, You
gotta be in the film industry, man. You could be seriously like, in like the next big Hollywood film. I think I'd see a future for you there.
I think we got to get more movies moving, and then maybe you'll feel otherwise.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to end the live stream. Don't go anywhere, guys, because I'll be back to see you in a minute. But everybody, thanks for watching. This has been so much fun, even as much or more fun than the first one, which I didn't think was possible. So hang tight, guys.
Okay.
All right.
See you, buddy. See you.